Welcome to another module in the Underwriting Academy. I'm Lisa Berger, and today we're going to be discussing farm valuation. Farmers are a unique group of closely held businesses. The insurance coverage that they require is a mix of personal, business, along with some loan coverage. And when we're looking at the whole entire file to see what the specifics are for whatever you're underwriting at the time, consideration must be given to the farm sales and the farm revenue, the personal income that the farmer is taking from said farm, the assets, including land, livestock, crops, the liabilities such as the mortgage and any other loans, as well as the impact of depreciation on income reported on the taxes. Now, generally we'll allow 30 times income for farm valuation, regardless of the person's age. It's kind of a general rule that's used. The question becomes, what income do you use to do the 30-time multiplier? And the source of the income, we're going to get that information either from the application, from a financial questionnaire that you may obtain, or perhaps from tax returns. Now here I've just did a little snippet out of the tax returns where it shows line 1A on the 1040. It'll show the total amount of income from the W-2. Now, this amount here can be greatly reduced due to taking generous depreciation and amortization on the farming assets. So while this is generally where you can find great income information for income replacement alone, for farmers, it's a little bit unique, and it might look like they are not able to be justified for a large amount until you take a little bit deeper dive. So if we take a little bit deeper dive on farmers, and we have the taxes, you'll also get a Schedule F for farmer. It's kind of easy to remember. And these highlighted lines here represent some key pieces of information. Now, here, their line 1A for this Schedule F include the sales of livestock. So this will give you a good indication of income that came in. Line 2 here in green will show the sales from produce or other products. Line 7, highlighted in yellow, will show custom hire income. And line 9 here in the pink will give a gross income. So this is the cost removed and will provide a really good indication of the actual income that they experienced for whatever tax year that is. Another way to estimate the value of a farm is online resources. The USDA has a website that will show you the different values for land use, whether it's crops or for pasture, and the states. All you need to do is know how many acres a person owns, and then you can come to the amount justified with that information. So inside this website, there are two options. You can select the crop value, and this is what you're going to find for basically a map of the United States, and it'll give you amount per acre based on the different states, or if it's pasture that they are looking for the value for. So whether they're growing crops such as corn, soybeans, that type of thing, or they have cattle, hogs, alpacas, whatever the case may be, then you would use the pasture value. So as an example, if we get the information from, say, a financial questionnaire for this gentleman, this is a 55-year-old male, he owns a cattle farm and he wants $15 million. So the financial questionnaire could be one source of information where he says his salary is $560,000, shows his assets at $8.8 million and liabilities at $8.3 million. Says his fair market value of the farm is $8.8 million and his sales equal $2.8 million. If we just take the salary at face value, do the 30 times, we can justify $16.8 million. That's pretty easy to do. Now, if we know only that he owns 10,000 acres in Texas for crop value, sorry, that's cut off a little bit there. We would use those prior maps and know that the acreage is 2,200 per acre times the number of acres, we can get to 22 million. So while they're not completely equal, they're within the ballpark and give you different options on how you can justify the information, justify the amount based on the information that's being provided to you. You know, we won't always get a plethora. We might have to work from different pieces and parts. This is another case example on a 44-year-old male. He's a hog farmer that's looking for $6 million in universal life. There's times where overstated income might actually be the annual sales. His salary might be a pass-through. So the information may not always equate to what they say it is. So in this one, this is a gentleman who's been 100% owner of a hog farm since 2019, and the farm's the Benny. His application shows his income of $2.75 million and a net worth of $1.35 million. So at this point, it's not really making much sense. So, you know, we get some more information. So financial questionnaire shows that he has 16 employees. His assets are at 8.8 million, liabilities at 8.3, and his equity is 500,000. Gross sales for the farm are 2.75 million, and his net business income is 200,000, and he takes a $50,000 salary. So that salary and income is much different from what he said his income was. Those are actually his sales. And that's not uncommon for people to be confused by the different terminology. So if we look at what we can justify for the total line here, and we take his net business income of 200,000, multiply that times 30, and that's where we get the 6 million from. Now we want to be careful that we're using the 30 times to justify this, to give them the full amount that they can have. If we look at just normal income replacement at his age, we'd only be at 25 times income, and we'd only use the salary, and that would only get us to 1.25 million. Even if we use estate conservation at the 500,000 for his net worth, or his equity listed here, and if it's a UL, we go 4.5 times for a multiplier. That's only 2.25 million. So we're only getting to 3.5 million when he wants 6. So it's really important to use the right multiple for the product type. In our next example, we have a 36-year-old male dairy farmer who wants $2 million of term. He owns 50% of the farm with his brother, who is 34. The farm is the beneficiary, and they say the purpose is buy-sell. Now, some of the good factors: there are LLC and buy-sell agreements already in place, and these brothers are the third-generation owners of the farm. So this has been a going concern for quite some time. The personal income is listed as $47,000. And if we go 30 times that, we get to 1.4 million, which is kind of close to the 2 million, but there's more information to be had. For the dairy farm, the assets are 1.3 million. The liabilities are 700,000, making the equity or the net worth in the farm at 600,000. The revenue, or their sales, are 285,000. So his share of the equity, so his part of the 600,000 net worth, he has half, so it's 300,000 times 1.8 for the multiple is 540,000, and his share of the revenue of 142,500, so it's that 285 times 0.5 because he only owns a half, and we do 30 times that, we get to 4.2 million. So we can see here this is most likely a combination of personal and business coverage, and we can get to the 2 million that he's applied for here, looking at this from several different angles. So just some final thoughts on farm valuation. Don't simply rely on the salary that the farmer takes or what they tell you. It may be a difference with his salary versus the net income versus sales revenue, that type of thing. You might need to dig just a little bit deeper. And they tend to take low salaries for these. Expect the financials to show large liability amounts. On the case examples, you will have noticed that the liabilities are almost the same as the assets. Farming is normally highly leveraged. They also, on the tax returns, will show generous use of depreciation and amortization. So digging in and looking at that Schedule F, if you do happen to have the benefit of tax returns, can give you a really really good, clear idea of what they're bringing in. If that's not an option, the financial questionnaire, maybe a little bit of coaching for your agent to ask, what those different values are so that they understand that they are a little bit different, even though they kind of sound the same. And as everything, the litmus test with underwriting is, does it make sense? Taking a step back and looking at the entire picture on what do they own, what are they trying to protect, and does the amount make sense? So that wraps it up for us with the farm valuation. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. And if you have other topics that you'd like us to address, please just let us know and we'll be happy to do so. Thanks again.